I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. All right, my friends. Let's see. Got done eating a hamburger. Yeah, looks good. Pearly whites. No ketchup on my face. Looking good, Scanlon. Looking good, like you ought to be in Hollywood. All right, let's make sure we get this. Oh, let me go on Rumble. Make sure we're going live on Rumble. All right. There we go. Sweet. Hey, on Rumble, on StreamYard, looking good. Looking good. Ought to be in Hollywood. What was I just getting ready to do? Oh, I was getting ready to do this. All right. I like to move it. No one's here yet? What the hell is happening? Does everyone hate old Josh? Am I being hated? Am I being ostracized? What the hell's going on here, man? Can I open up this? We got 2 people here. No one likes me anymore. Anyone on Rumble? Anyone? Anyone? No one likes old Josh. I got 2 people. All right, can I make this friggin'? Why can't? It's the weirdest thing. Why does it not show up there? I don't get it. I don't get it, everybody. I don't know what's going on. The world is beyond me. The world escapes me. So we got some. I don't think great economic news, which I'll read to you while I'm waiting for my stupid YouTube thing to allow me to monetize this so I can get paid. There's George and Michael. All right, there you go. We got Michael and George. Thank you, people. Thank you. We got a couple. Hey, all right. No one on Rumble yet. We got one on Rumble. It's probably me. So we got George and Michael. We got another Michael. Right on. Hope you guys have bought my new book. Hope you bought my new book. And give me a review on Amazon, please. All right. Got to get that sweet, sweet Jeff Bezos money. You don't want Jeff Bezos keeping all that, do you? You want him to give some of that to me? Anyway, all right. So, so read some economic news here. That doesn't sound good, actually. Right here. The Federal Reserve reported on Tuesday that M2 measure of the money supply dropped by 1.2% in March, is down 4% from a year ago, and 6.1% annualized. Not only have we never experienced the Fed trying to fight inflation problem under an abundant reserve system regime, so we got tons of reserves out there. Yeah, right on, Michael. Appreciate that. You're all right, Michael. I don't care what they say. Not only have we never experienced the Fed trying to fight an inflation problem under an abundant reserve regime, we've never seen M2 grow so fast for so long or decline so rapidly, at least since the Great Depression. So the M2 grew fast for long and is declining, and never seen it decline so rapidly. If the recent data are accurate, this is not a good sign for real GDP growth in the year ahead, and consistent with our view that we're headed for a recession. I mean, whatever, man. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know anything. The video I did earlier today, we're talking about that. We got Don Bagler on Facebook. Right on, Don. No one knows anything, dude. I mean, it's crazy. But here's what I do know is that we have experience of returns in the equity markets, which I want to talk about here today, and to extrapolate that for a future, I don't buy that, dude. I don't think that's you can do that. It's fine. You can say, hey, look, if the market is going to be alive, i.e. the commies don't take over, we can look at the past and get a gauge. I get that, man. But to say, I just, we don't have enough, there's not enough data to say statistically with any probability that this will happen. They're just not. And it's one of my frustrations, frankly, when people say, well, the average, anyway, so let's get into this here because I've been playing with this all day. All right, so we're going to show my screen. We got some people next door taking down some trees. So if you all hear that, all right. I got 2 people on Rumble. I guess I'm not liked anymore on Rumble. People don't like me. They don't like your buddy Josh. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to share my screen. I'd like to move it. Don't forget to buy my book. All right. Bucket strategy right there. Hey, Marie. Hey, Jeff. All right, so here we're going to Daniel Kuhlbert's website, his bucket strategy thing, and you can get on 55e.co. 55e.co. You get your own if you like to play with numbers, which I do actually, because I'm weird like that. I'll actually show you the website here. I like to move it. There we go. So we go to 55e.co. There you go. All right, so here's 55 elephants. I don't know why Daniel likes elephants so much. I guess he went to University of Alabama. I said every time it looks like Alabama, but I don't know that to be true. And so here are the current ones we're looking at right here: the bucket strategy, the Monte Carlo, and taxation. You get these free ones, but here's a bucket strategy, which we're going to be looking at. And I think he charges. I don't know how much he charged for this guy. I love this thing, dude. It's literally my go-to thing. It's always on my dashboard or whatever this thing's called, because I refer to it so much. I'll update 2022 returns as soon as possible. Right on. The price of 25 schmackaroonies. 25 schmackaroonies. So if you're not buying Daniel's stuff, well, you're dumb. I'm sorry to say, you're dumb, and don't be dumb. There's no room for dumbness around here. So buy Daniel's stuff. It's yours for the taking. It'll be updated on a regular basis. Hey, Denise Marie's in here. Denise said, what did she say the other day in the email or in a chat? I wanted to address. I can't remember. I don't recall. What the hell was that, Denise? I forgot. All right, so anyway, whatever. Let's go. Daniel, she's great. Right on Michael. Look at Michael freaking kicking ass out there. Michael don't have spell. He says sheet. That's how they say in Ireland. Shite and onions. Shite. Michael's talking about shite. Remember now what? Yeah, right on. Boss tweet in the house. So Michael's two shites to the wind right now for his lunch break. He can't type. He says Daniel sheet is great. He thinks he spells sheet shete. Next, Michael will say sheat. Sheet. These two sheets to the wind. That's funny. Not really, but that's all right. We'll keep going. We'll keep plugging along, making fun of people who follow the channel. It's always a good way to get to get more people out there to follow people. You always get more people on your channel to make fun of the people who follow you. That's always a good mechanism to get people to support you. Making fun of them. Yes, it was, Denise. It was about inherited IRAs. Yes. I'm drawing a blank now. 3 martini lunches, Michael. Right on, man. So Denise had a good. We're gonna go off sidetrack. So I don't want. I gotta stay focused. Focus, Scanlon. Focus. All right. So what we're doing here is we're taking my man Daniel Kuhlberg's spreadsheets, and we're just so basically got the S&P 500 goes back to 1871. All right. So what I'm doing here is let's go to 1871, and one more time we're gonna say I like to move it. You like to move it. Remember, I don't drink caffeine, folks. I don't drink caffeine. I'm just naturally highly like that. It's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? The last thing I need is literally, if I were to do cocaine, I would be a nut. I'd be insane because I'm already hyper enough. I don't drink caffeine. That's why I like beer, frankly, because beer calmed me down. I don't really like that much alcohol, but beer I love because it just calmed me down. Maybe relax. No other way around that. So I'm a pretty hyper guy. But cocaine I would be a nut, dude. It'd be insane. I'd probably be addicted. I should probably take heroin, frankly, but I like my life, so I'm not gonna do that. So I just do what I gotta do, man, and get by. My wife keeps me in check. All right, so anyway, what we're doing here is taking Daniel Kuhlberg's spreadsheet, looking at just S&P 500. We're not doing withdrawals right now or anything like that. We're just simply, we'll get in that here in a little bit. And we're taking inflation and we're taking the returns. All right, so inflation and the returns. And inflation, again, is, if you read my book, I have a high animosity, too strong, high disdain for the current inflation numbers, because they're so heavy involved in housing. And if you actually look historically, housing wasn't that deep involved in inflation. And I show it in my book. So the older inflation numbers I like because they were more heavy on things that were more relative to us, which is food, clothing, transportation is still a bit high. But anyway, housing is such a significant part of CPI, I find it to be silly. But the old inflation numbers, again, they didn't have housing that high as part of CPI. It's very, very interesting. And the history of inflation. And so the older numbers I take a lot more seriously because, frankly, my inflation on my housing relative to my income and my expenses is minimal. Yeah, my property tax went up. It went up from like 700. I pay like $7,700 a year in property tax, whereas I was paying $7,400 a year, whatever it was. It's just not that big of a deal relative to other things, food in particular, electricity. You see what I'm saying? But again, my electricity cost is minimal relative to food, relative to health care I pay, and all that. And the same thing for you, most likely. My mortgage is fixed. You know, I did a 5 and 5 ARM in 2017, so I was getting 3 and 1/4 in 2017. I was paying that sucker off like a crazy man. Now I'm at 5 and 1/4, 5 and 1/4 for the next 5 years, and by then I hope this thing will be paid off. So there's no increase in my mortgage costs. I'm not renting my home to myself. That's owner's equivalent rent, which is just stupid. I'm not renting my home. I'm not a renter. I own my home. And so the only thing that housing would affect me would be property tax, maintenance, and things of that nature. But in the old days, they didn't measure like that. They measured on food, apparel, in particularly. So the old inflation number is a lot more legit than they are now. I just saw the repost video of the intro to the Pablo t-shirt. It's the first time I've seen it because I'd probably being life flighted that day. Thank you. Oh yeah. Oh man, you got it, Denise. Yeah, where you're crushing. Denise says, it's actually funny. She said, if I die again before my husband, what happens to the IRA I leave? Because Denise literally died. Literally died. She died, dude. I mean, that's why right here, my first death. I mean, you gotta laugh now. It's Lazarus laughed is the name of that, not a book, but a story. Is fantastic. But she died. So who's gonna sit there and say, "Oh, don't retire. You might die." And he's like, "I already did die." And I've hell's bells. So she can retire the end of this week or something like that. And it's like, dude, anyone on Rumble yet? Nobody on Rumble, huh? Got 5 people on Rumble now. All right. All right. I'm like, dude, she died. Have you eaten any mashed potatoes yet? You talking to me, Marie, or Denise? So I hear people saying, "Oh, I'm gonna run out of money." I said, "Dude, you're gonna run out of flipping time. You can always cut back. You can always cut back, but you can't cut back on death. When your ticket's punched, your ticket's punched. There's nothing you can do about it. That's crazy." It's amazing to me, and I'll do a video one day on my man Blanchette's Monte Carlo. People act like Monte Carlo. Oh, right on, Marie. Monte Carlo is the equivalent of a plane crash. It's so freaking stupid. I was doing this Monte Carlo these people the other day, and they're like, I can't remember. 65% if they live till 95, and they're 87% if they live till 92. I'm like, come on. We take 3 years off the life expectancy, and they go from bad to good. It's freaking stupid. Anyway, yeah, right on. Doctors were amazed. I knew exactly what staff was doing for what I was supposed to be unaware. Dude, I'm telling you, man. My wife's mom had that same thing happen. So she was, I can't remember the story, but 100%. What? 100%. Yeah, but you got a big fat pension. Must be nice. You got a government pension. No one else has a pension. They can't retire. Anyway, you can always get more money. You can't get 100%, Jeff. Look at Jeff with Saturn. Jeff's on LSD looking at that Saturn planet. But that's what happened to my wife's mom. She had an out-of-body experience, and she literally could see what was going on. It was nuts, dude. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. So what we're doing here is we're going to come down to my little... What am I rambling about now, boy? Oh, boy. I'm a boy. Oh, you're just a boy. Get out and stay out of debt. Yeah, right. So it must be nice. You got a pension. Whatever. La Reeve band. All right, right on. Look at this guy. There's Jason Slaya. He's going to slay you. Jason Slayer. Rain and Blood. All right. Anyway, so we're gonna ban old little donations. Call me boy, you get banned. No one calls me boy and stays on my YouTube channel. All right, so let's go back. So stupid. People get really angry about people on the internet. It's crazy. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at my untitled spreadsheet. All right. So what you'll see here is we took this is what I did my video on earlier today. It's a little bit bigger. And we're going to take 1871 to 1900, 1901 to 1930, 1931, 1961 to 19. So 30 year. We have 5 30-year time frames. They're unique. It's completely unique from each other. All right. So then we're going to. So then I just copy and paste inflation numbers from old Dan Coolabert, and we're just going to do this right quick. That's equals 2 point. What is that? Equals blank. That's K32. So let's do equals K32. And that would be equals L32 equals, it was M32, right? And it equals N32. All right. So you can see the rates of return right here. Well, this is not accounting for inflation. Now, again, the inflation numbers changed drastically in 1982. Changed drastically where they added OER and whatnot. But we're gonna use them, man. But the inflation numbers are different now than they were back then. That's just a fact. All right, so you can see, looks like this looks bad. 1871 to 1900. That looks better. That looks great. You know, this one right here is we're never gonna get this again, in my opinion. But who knows? All right, so then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this equals this minus that. All right. Hey, wait, what happened? Oops, percent. Like to move it, move it. You like to move it. There we go. All right. And then we're going to look at that. Whoa, Nelly. So when you actually look at that, I hope y'all can see this. So when you actually factor in inflation, this right here was better than any other time except for this right here. Isn't that interesting? When you actually factor in inflation, the returns that you got, even though they look weak, were much better than any other category except right there from 1991 to 2020. And I just don't expect 1991 to 2020 to ever happen again because a lot of it's built on leverage, and those days are gone. I mean, I hope they're gone for sure. Low interest rates leverage. Isn't that interesting? So now let's chart this. And we're going to chart that, and we're going to think chart. And we're going to do it insert chart. And I'm doing this on the fly, so oh, look at that. Look at the difference there. So look at the two differences. Pretty interesting, is it not? After inflation, so look at that. That becomes, that is like the Bible. Least to the best. Isn't that interesting? So the question is, what are your, look at that, net of inflation, you get 5, 5.79, 8.4, 8.08, and 8.4. So we have 5 unique times. That's it, dude. And if we take these averages, 8.4 plus 8.4, 8.4 plus 8.4 plus 5.79 plus 8.08 plus 5.06. Divide that by 5. Our average rate of return net of inflation is 7.1%, which still means you double your money every 10 years. But we don't care about doubling our money every 10 years because we're pulling money out. And again, this right here is bad. And again, that was from that ended the last 8 years. So 1982 freaking kicked butt and took names. And that just kept going on into this thing. But again, so the question is, net of inflation, you would have been in a world of hurt versus you're not in a world of hurt. Hope this makes sense. All right, so now what we're going to do, so you see, I hope that makes sense about the difference between inflation and how that factors in. Again, I challenge this whole thing in inflation as I'm going to spend each and every year increasing with inflation. Not going to happen. That's how I got rid of little donations, dude. Hey, right on, Deborah. Look at Deborah. Buy my new book. Make sure you give me a good a like on YouTube, on Amazon, or a review on Amazon too. Look at my man Pulverizer. Hey, Tony Marcelli, right on, man. Lucky to me, Pulverize has off so I can watch these horrible scenarios. Oh, Pulverizer. Jason Slaya says, I'm new to investing about continuous drive. That's in the Bible. Say, what exactly do you mean? I don't know what you're asking. Yeah, 100%, dude. At least with hookers and blow, you actually have some fun with it. Unlike doggy coin. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to share screen. And we're going to come to, there we go. Can y'all see this? Yeah, sweet. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Might be all right, good. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do fixed withdrawal. We're going to take 5,000 a year. All right, so we're taking 5,000 a year. We're not we'll do both, adjusting with inflation. Not. We're going to go to 1871 to 1900. That's 30 years. Again, we're looking at 30-year time frames. 1871. It's all in the S&P 500. I grant you. But I just want to run these numbers to see what it looks like. Right there. All right. So again, this is all the S&P 500. Now we can do it in the bucket strategy where you keep some in reserve and all that. I'm not going to do that here right now. All right. So when did we? So in 1871, we start with $100,000. We withdrew 5,000, and we had a 15.6% rate of return. So by the end of 1871, we had 110,000 left. How long did the money? Ooh, in 1878, we're down to 84,000. All right, that's kind of scary, but still. How long did that money last? And did it make it through 1899? Yes, it did. All right, so okay, good. Now, if we're going to adjust that with inflation, let's take a look at this. That should be fine because inflation was deflation at that point. And 1990. And the answer is yes. We will have to 368. All right, because again, 5,000 in 1871, the equivalent of 3,200 was what it cost in 1899, if that makes sense. You guys following that? So with deflation, if it costs us $5,000 in 1871, it costs us $3,200 net of inflation in 1900. Hope that makes sense. Deflation, my friends, isn't a bad thing. I'm just telling you right now. The name of my book, Jason, is Relax and Retire. Relax and Retire. You just look up Josh Scanlon. What's my 6th book. So just remember, deflation isn't the worst thing that ever happened. It's not. Now the Fed, this is what's actually interesting about this book right here, The Price of Time, is that the central bankers hate deflation more than anything. And the reason is because they can't control it. They love inflation because that's more of their ability to control. And they just want to do nothing more than control you. So deflation always. And if you guys, if whoever's got the thing, you see this guy, little donations, just ban him. I don't want that guy around. He's on his 4th thing now, so just ban him. If you see him, just ban him. We got other people who got. We got other people who have the thing there, because people got so much time on their hand, they got nothing to do that they want to go on some random guy's YouTube channel and push dog coin. So freaking stupid. I got nothing to do with my life, so I'm gonna harass people online. By the way, don't get friggin' stuck in arguing with people on the internet. I mean, on occasion it's fine, but don't get so caught up in it. It's a mind. It takes away your time from doing good things. Say your thing, maybe debate a 1 or 2, but then move on, man. It's not worth it. I'm just telling you right now, it's a mind suck. It's a time suck, and you don't have enough time to waste for fools. So, I mean, I'll go back and forth with people all the time on the moon landing, but I'll punch, I'll jab, I'll get out, punch, jab, get out, what I'm saying? But that's it. Don't get in this, roundabout thing. Like I gotta, you just waste your time, man. Don't do that. All right. So let's keep going. All right. So we know in 1871, even though the market presumably had the worst rate of return before we factor in inflation, you did fine if you're taking your money out of a fixed rate or if you took your money out adjusted for inflation. That's just a fact, dude. It's just a fact. Yeah, treasuries are. Yeah, I would call it. So treasury bills are cash. Treasury bonds are not. Treasury bills are short term, less than a year. Anything above a year is not cash. Remember, cash is for immediate liquid needs. That's just a fact. I don't have any qualm with treasuries right now. I mean, I think actually, let me see real quick. Don't forget, if you haven't bought my discount on my course, you have until another. Man, I can't remember. I did it for like 25 days left or something like that. So you can buy my discount course for 25 days more for retirement planning. So 10-year treasury right now is at 3.437. Yeah, I got no. Yeah, right on, Jason. I got no problem with Japan's move. Did it for real, Boss Tweed? Just like SpaceX, the fake SpaceX. Oh man, right on, Jason. Glad to hear. Glad to have you here, man. But I got no qualm with treasuries right now, Ed. No, none whatsoever. Japan's moon landing crash. People like, what? I don't want to get into that right now. All right, I gotta stay focused. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to 1900 to 19. We're gonna go 1901. Excuse me. I like to move it. 1901 to 1930. Again, this is just the S&P 500. I grant you. It's not fully reflective of a diversified portfolio. Don't care. All right, so we're taking 5,000 a year. We're adjusting it for inflation. We start with 100,000 schmackaroonies in 1901. We made bank. Look at that. How long did the money last? Right there. We had $211,000 by the end of 1930. So we did fine. 5,000 a year adjusted for inflation. Again, that 5,000 it ended up cost us 10,000 over 30 years because of this right here, the decline 9%. Actually, that's a little bit of deflation at the beginning of the Great Depression. But that 9,000 a year, that 5,000 a year we needed for money was 11,906 in 1920 because of the mass inflation because of World War I. All right, so now that's with inflation justice. That's pretty good. If we take a fix, it'll be the same. And we'd like to move it. All right, we go 1900, and we go withdrawal. But in 1930 kicks around, we're at 423. So that just means you're not freaking spending enough money, dudes. That's all there is to it. What is the best book for someone already in retirement? Probably the tax bomb in your retirement account, Bruce. Tax bomb in your retirement account, because that's we talked significantly about Roth and the income that the widow's tax trap and things of that nature. That'd be my best book. Dude, they're only $5 each. I can't remember. They're not very expensive. Just buy the whole freaking load of them, man. James says, my ESOP lost 13% of my after retire September 6th. I can't lose anymore. See, that's how do you know you can't lose anymore? But I hope you have cash, dude. I'm telling you, man, this is a problem. And and I'm not mocking you or anything, James. You said I can't afford to lose anymore. How do you know that? And I don't know about the ESOP. If you can actually get out of the single company stock, I don't know. And I posted a thing on my YouTube channel just yesterday with whatever that stupid bank was. What's it called? Let me show what I'm talking about. What the hell is that bank called? Federal. So, yeah. Right, that's gonna be hard to see. Hold on a second. That right there. First Republic, single stock risk right there, man. Single stock risk. First Republic, right on. You can roll to an eye. Oh yeah, dude. Well, that's the single stock risk. Not Rick, is 6 years cash too much? Not if you're freaking getting 4.5. No. I mean, are you going to get that forever? I don't think so. But for the time being, hell. Yeah, James, I'd be single stock risk is a big flipping deal, man. As you can't look, I can't tell you what to know you from Adam, but I'm just saying, if you got all your money tied up in one stock and it's already down 13%, that's giving you a warning. Like, dude, be careful, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's keep going here. So we saw in S&P 500, you could take 5% a year out for both years, 1871 to 1900 and 1901 to 1930, inflated or not. You could take money out and still survive. That's just a fact. 5% with no cash, just an S&P 500. All right, let's keep going. Let me go bring. Thanks for doing it for us. Was your advice for us to move money to a money market because we're looking at retiring? Yes, absolutely. I can't remember how old you are off the top of my head, Sean, but my goodness, if we're a year to two out and you're getting 4.5% on the money market, you can't afford to freaking. I can't remember, but you're within spitting distance of retiring. You cannot afford the downside that may not come. I don't know, but the bear market we had last year, 2022, was a big fat nothing burger for stocks. Big fat nothing burger. Look, if you're going to retire at 60 and you're only 56, should you put all your money in the money market? No, that'd be stupid. But hell's bells, I wouldn't have to start freaking piling fat stacks of cash, dude. If I'm getting 4.5% sitting there risk free, I want that. That's what I have, and I'm not having to retire anytime soon because I have debt and I got bills to pay. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy to me how people don't have cash. Not you, Sean, but people. I'm like, dude, do you not see the inevitability of it that you're going to have to start spending down money soon? If you're spending down money soon, that's dropped in value by 20 to 30%. That literally, just think about it, my friends. Let's just put it like this. No, it's freaking over 256 like 2 years ago. Crazy. Let's think about it like this. And I talk about this in my book. Again, relax and retire. You bust your ass for years, for decades, building for simplicity $500,000. It took you 30 years to build $500,000. All right. And just say for simplicity, of that $500,000, we're going to take 25. We're going to take 5% a year off. And then we say we like to move it. All right. So it took 30 years to build $500,000. We're going to take 5% a year off, which is 25,000 schmackaroonies. All right. Everybody with me on that so much? If the market falls 25% in 1 year, which happens all the flipping time, that $500,000 is now worth $375. Let me get a different market here. I mean, this is so $375. What does that mean? That means you just lost 5 years of spending power. 5 years. For what? Now again, this isn't to Sean. Sean just asked a question. I'm just saying this to anybody. For what? Well, I want to accumulate more. Okay. You're going to accumulate more. You might run out of money before you get the benefit because of the sequence of return risk, my friends. This is the issue with sequence of return risk because now it's down to 375. You lost 5 years in 1 year. In 1 year. All the time and energy you spent to accumulate this $500,000, you lost 5 years of income you needed from that portfolio in 1 year on just a run-of-the-mill bear market. 25%. Dudes, we're down, 22% from top to bottom last year. Whip-de flip and do. Does that mean we're done? The bear market's behind us? I don't think so. I was talking to this guy the other day. We're talking, the guy's working with, what did he ask me? What do I think? Oh, because I only use a 5.5% rate of return on a moderately aggressive portfolio. And I get that off Vanguard. And he said, and we're just talking about it. He goes, why do you think that, essentially? And I said, because where does the growth come from? Where does growth come from? And this guy's in oil and gas, so he's not, he knows what's going on. Growth comes from earnings. Where do earnings growth come from? More expensive energy? No. Everything revolves around cheap credit and cheap energy. You get rid of cheap energy, which we are. You get rid of cheap credit, which we are. Where does earnings growth come from now? Well, then it's just monopolization, which is evil. And thankfully, Joe Biden looks like, unlike Obama, and I can't remember Trump. I think Trump was better than Obama. They're getting the regulatory, the Federal Trade Commission, to step up and start, not allowing for various corporate acquisitions, whatnot. In fact, Europe just banned a thing from Microsoft was trying to buy something called Activision for $60 billion. We need more of that. We need more regulation against monopolization, 100%. And that is a 100% right wing thing. Unfortunately, very few on the right will argue that because we've been too suckered into Robert Bork thing of unfettered capitalism, which has never happened, by the way. We need more regulation on massive monopolies. That's just a fact. We need big time more of that, my friends. And it looks like Biden, and it's not even Biden so much as a lady, some Indian named Khan. Looks like she's put some teeth in that, and I like that, dude. I support that 100%. Yeah, look, I'll give Sniffy Joe credit where it gets, and he's not there, and we know it's not Sniffy Joe. The scumbags running the Democratic Party are running the country, and they're mostly running to the ground. I get that, but they're still on occasion. You got to give credit for what's credit, and getting the FTC involved in more of this, the antitrust stuff. I'm 100% for it. Obama didn't do anything like that. And as such, big corporations got bigger and bigger and bigger, and less efficiency, or I should say, less competition, more wealth being focused on those people, this tiny group of people, and less that are spread out amongst the. Now we've benefited from it. I get if you're in the markets, we've benefited from it 100%. I don't deny that. But that is it can't cheap debt, dude. Cheap debt, cheap energy, and those things are gone now. So where's the growth come from? I mean, robots. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's only so much you can cut from employees because employees are the biggest cost center there is in a company. You still need employees, right? Where's the growth coming from before? Arbitrage was actually from building a better product or arbitrage, financial arbitrage. I don't know the answer to these things. However, financial arbitrage is now behind us with high interest rates. I'm telling you, man, I'm so happy for high interest rates. Jerome Powell crushes. Big fan of Jerome Powell, 100%. You should be too. However it comes to be, the fact we got high interest rates, I'm 100% happy for this now. But mortgages are more expensive, yeah, and the price of houses won't jump up as much. You know what I'm saying, to accommodate that. We need just more building, and I hate to even say that so much because I hate when they freaking plow over paradise, or that stupid song was. I hate that song. They plowed over paradise. I can't say it, but we still have people need a place to live, dude. I mean, give me a break. I'm not gonna be one of these guys. Not close the door behind me after I'm sitting in paradise. So you can't have a house either. Now screw that. Point being is though, so where does the stock market get its returns from? Well, it gets it from earnings growth and dividend yields. Dividend yields are low. Earnings growth. What's earnings growth? Is it going to be high? I don't see that. I don't. I could be wrong, but I don't see how high energy costs and high cost of finance. I don't see where it's coming from. So we're using a 5.5% rate of return on the markets. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, 5.5% rate of return on the markets, when I know for sure that a 25% decline in the markets happens all the time. JP Morgan does this great thing every year. They show you the average top to bottom return on any given year of the market is 14.5%. So from top to bottom on any given year, you could be down 15% on any. That's not even a bear market. That happens all the time, all the time. Then you look at what happened in 2007, 8, 9. We're down 57%. It's nuts. 2001, 2. So 2000 S&P 500 is down 9. 2001 S&P 500 is down 12. 2002 S&P 500 was down 22%, dudes. 22%. And all right. So 2009 to friggin' 2021, it went gangbusters. We still had a couple years in there. It was close to bear market, but not quite. But we never had a full bear market. Q4 2018, it was 19.8. Wasn't a true bear market. The only bear market we've had was a tiny sliver in the COVID crap in I called the Valentine's Day Massacre. It wasn't just for Valentine's Day, but Q1 2020. And that lasted 20 seconds. You blinked, you missed it. It wasn't a bear market. And then what happened last year? A tiny bear market. But that's off the back of an insane run from 2009 to 2021. All right, but before there was no alternative. Tina, what are you going to do? Put your money in a 0.5% CD? You're getting crushed. You're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll just go and buy some stocks, dividend-paying stocks, preferably. Well, but now you can get 4.5% in the markets, in the cash markets. with no risk. And people say, "What?" I had a guy email me. Do you think banks? I'm like, dude, if banks go under, we're all doomed. It doesn't matter. It's like insurance companies. If insurance companies go under, it does the whole thing's coming to thing. I just read something on. Yeah, I don't know what Vanguard's. Oh, did Joni Mitchell sing that song? I thought it was like Counting Crows or something like that. I don't know what Vanguard's questionnaire is. But generally speaking, those they're going to be. I actually I don't know what it is, so I shouldn't say anything. I think investment questionnaires to determine your at your. Hey, let's see. Let's look at Rumble. Nobody's still on Rumble. I got 24. No one wants to comment on Rumble. No comments. Wow. Because no one cares. Old Josh. Man. No one cares about old Josh anymore on Rumble. Yeah, 100%. A lot of these questionnaires, so what they need to do, Boss Tweed, is they need to do it like this. They got to say, could you handle in retirement your portfolio dropping to that while you're pulling that out? Could you handle that? Because remember, if we just look at this, 25,000 on 500,000, that's a 5% withdrawal. 25,000 on 375, that's a 6.6% withdrawal. All right. So we've increased our withdrawal percentages that no one would sit there and say that's stable, if that makes sense. And it's funny too, man. A lot of people say, I hate it. I mean, I used to do these videos talk about the G fund in 2018, 19, and 20. People, I hate the G fund. The G fund sucks. You're an idiot if you do the G fund. Fools, man. All right, let's keep going. So I want to keep bringing back up. What's that? There we go. All right, so we just showed you the S&P 500 alone. We get 5% a year. And two of those 5 decades, or two of those 5 30-year time frames, 1871 to 1900, you're fine. 5% a year with inflation, 5% a year fixed. 1901 to 1930, you're fine. 5% inflation, 5% fixed. We just showed you those two things work. So now let's keep going back and see what we can do for the next 3 times. Because this is all you have. There's nothing else you can bank on. You don't know. All right, so now we're going to go, oops, 1 second. I'm going to go 1931. And I haven't run these numbers. I don't know, guys. I mean, it might come out okay. I don't know. To 1960s to 1960. I like to move it. All right, there we go. All right, let's see. Make sure y'all can see that. Yep, good. Good. Everybody's good. Everybody's crushing. All right. There we go. So in 1931, we're down 44%. Now we only had deflation, so we weren't even. So again, everyone says 1931 was the worst year ever. No, it wasn't, because 2008 was the worst year ever when you factor in inflation. Just FYI, 2008 was the worst year ever. We all went through it. This is why. That's our Great Depression. I don't know why people forget that, but anyway, it doesn't matter. You ran out of money? Never. Nope. So you survived. If we were just doing a fixed amount, you were down to 42,000 in 1941, but you survived. You took 5,000 years of fixed amount from 1931, and by the time 1960 rolled around, you survived. You're at 250. It's not too bad. Let's do it with inflation and see what we look like now. With inflation, we survived. Yeah, look at that. With inflation, we survived there too, till 1960. So we're looking good. Look at that. I thought we would have ran out of money by then, but we didn't, because that first year we got skunked. But remember, we needed a 5,000 initial withdrawal, but because inflation was 9%, at deflation, we only needed $4,500. And we didn't get back to 5,000 until right there, until our 13th year of retirement, because of all the deflation that came in. So we retired into a deflationary time period, even when we got smoked in the markets at down 44%. But the 5,000 we needed, that didn't reappear until 13 years into retirement. Now, by the time we retired, that 5,000 we needed was 8,861. All right. So far, so good. All right. Everybody with me so far? So far, so good. All right. So sequence of return risk, 100%. But that didn't happen here in 1931. 32, excuse me. It didn't. Even though we were down 9 in 1930, Look at that. 1931, we were down 44%. 1932, 32%. 1938, 34. See what I'm saying? We got that, but look, we were down to $56,000. I mean, even after the first year, we're down to $44,000. We made it. All right, so now let's go to, this is where it's going to get ugly. 1961. And here's where it's going to get ugly. Oops, no, wrong one. 1961. Right there to 1990. Again, we're not using any cash reserves. We're just basically putting the S&P 500. And here, let's see what we got. Taking 5,000 a year out of the S&P 500, adjusted for inflation. Maybe not. It looks like we're all right. Yes, it is. Look at that. For 30 years. Looks like we are. Yeah, we made it. That's adjusted for inflation too. So we got, so check this out. It costs us 22. So what cost us, what cost us 5,000 a year in 1961 cost us 22,000 30 years later. And that means we had inflation average of that of 5.13% was our inflation. So we averaged a 5.13% inflation. Yet from 1961 until 1990, we made it. We made it. That's good stuff. All right, now let's just do the last one. The last one should be a slam dunk, 1991 to 2020. So that's good stuff across the board, 1991 to 2020. And I'm sure we made it here too. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, so even taking 5,000 a year adjusted for inflation, 1991 to 2020, we're left with $1 million. All right, so this is the issue there. We just used the only 5 independent 30-year time frames there was with the S&P 500, not doing anything fancy, just pulling 5,000 a year off. Not one time did we run out of money, inflated or fixed, not one time. If that doesn't get your freaking get your motor running, headed down the highway, if that doesn't get you looking for adventure, no matter comes our way. I still like highway. What the hell is that song? That's get your motor, whatever the stupid song. I don't like that song. Like all right, who knows this song? Who sings this? What band does this? I'm a highway star. Nobody gonna take my girl. You keep her till the end. Nobody gonna take my girl. I can't remember the lyrics of that. Oh, she's a loving machine. She's got everything. I can't remember how that goes. That's not, well, that's Steppenwolf I was just doing before, but who does that? Deep Purple, right on, Boss Tweed. You got it, right on Pulverizer. Pulverizer's Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd, they do the best band ever. I try to listen to Pink Floyd since I've become a different person in the last 5 years or so. Still can't get into it, man. Still can't get into it. They still suck. The music just bores me to death. Couple good songs, but no way, man. Boring. I even tried getting some of that not older Rush, but like 21. Was it 2112? Or I can't. There's another Rush album that's big, and Josh, that's me playing guitar, Denise. That's me using a fret like this. Come on. There's another, what's that big, freaking Moving Pictures or something like that? No, can't get into it much. Boring. Yeah. All you guys like that stuff. Boring. But Highway Star from Deep Purple was a pretty good album. All right, so anyway, we just showed you that for 5 unique times, you could have done just fine with 5% all in the S&P 500, without question. Did you listen to Pink Floyd? Animal's my favorite. Is it an album? I'll check it out. I'll put it on here. It probably sucks. If I know you, Pulverizer is probably like the worst band ever. It probably made me become Satanist or something like that. It's like, worship Satan. Worship State in Pink Floyd. Oops. Pink Floyd. Probably Animals. All right. Animals full album. Okay, gotcha. I haven't listened to it, but I will for you, Pulverizer. Pig. I know the lyrics that what's his name? Not Roger Waters, right? Yeah, yeah, that guy. I like his. He's good. He's freaking fantastic as a lyricist. I'll grant you that. That everyone's against is Roger Waters. Everyone hates because his politics doesn't bother me in the least. Frankly, I don't care. It used to. It used to until I had the Great Awakening from 2020. But now I just don't. It doesn't bother me. The music doesn't do much for me. But I'll listen to Animals. Got it right here. The lyrics I like, and I guess that's all I had to say about that. Yeah, lyrics, the music, yeah, the politics don't bother me. I'm with your point. Yeah, runner. Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, man, if you want to go to sleep, yeah, but if you want to go to sleep, just listen to some waves. And you can go to YouTube. You got some waves crash on the water. Ooh, but you know what band I just started checking out? You guys like this? Is what did I just listen to? Hold on a second. Oh man, it was the Midnight Ghost Train. Oh man, Midnight Ghost Train. Those guys, I don't think they're around anymore. Midnight Ghost Train, right there. They got this song. Anytime you got a hot chick on the cover, you know it's a good album. But they're actually these guys crush Midnight Ghost Train. That'll put you in a good mood. That'll put you in a mood to want to work out. That's for sure. Craig says retiring in 2 weeks and 2 days. Just put yeah. What I'm saying, dude. I mean, I can't. Why take the risk, especially for the time being? Yeah, maybe I haven't listened to the whole thing. Animal, Pulverizer. All right, I'll listen to Animal. I'll probably be disappointed. Probably never get that time back. I'll put it on there. All right. If they start getting synthesizer crap, I'm gonna go crazy, man. Synthesizer crap. That's like Rush. I was like, Rush, why'd you do that? So let me show you guys some. Hey, there we go. A couple people now on Rumble. Right on. All right, all right. All right, my man said, "What's the best?" I have Schwab. A lot of people have Fidelity. A lot of people like Fidelity. In fact, I did a video on Fidelity's free retirement calculator. People got really defensive. Like, how dare you challenge Fidelity? Because they like the Fidelity retirement stuff. When you're a client, I got no qualm with Fidelity. I got no qualm with Schwab. I got no qualm with Vanguard. All three of those are fine. I got Vanguard. I mean, I got Schwab just because I used to have USA and then moved to Schwab and I like it. I think from retirement projection stuff, I think Fidelity's probably got the best stuff relative to modeling things. I don't know if Schwab has anything, frankly. Vanguard stuff is, Frank, I don't know. All right, so anyway, let's keep going because I want to show you what the one area that a lot of people will, throw. All right, so a lot of people. Then we're going to go to 1966. All right, we're going to go 1966 because you don't know when you're going to retire. All right, so now we're going 1966. The S&P 500. We're taking 5% a year off, adjusted for inflation, and you're going to run out of money. And you're going to run out of money in 1984. That's 18 years. 18 years. All right. So that is always an issue. You can even say if we don't adjust it for inflation, I think you're fine. I can't remember actually. Hold on a second. Yeah. So if you don't adjust it for inflation, you're fine. But from 1966, you would ran out of money. Again, that's at 5%. Let's do it inflation adjusted. And again, my whole contention is, where is the evidence, amigos, where is the evidence that you spend money increasing with inflation? Look at a gas station, Josh. That's freaking stupid. Look at your property tax. Okay, well, my property tax are minimal relative to my overall outflow. I mean, I grant you property tax 100%. I grant you that 100%. Actually, but there are ways to avoid that once you're 65. Denise knows Denise. is she's not on here. And she did a video. She did a thing for me to talk about Alabama. If I can find her email form real quick. Some counties in Alabama don't. Once you hit 65, your property tax are basically negligible. So there's ways to deal with those kind of things. In terms of, but by spending going up each and every year with inflation, again, based on what evidence, there isn't any, especially when it comes to inflation specifically relative to CPI. What? Again, let's just go into CPI. And this is what I wrote my book on, this last book, Relax and Retire, Debunking Inflationary Fears. CPI consists, there's three CPIs. There's CPI-E for the elderly, which, that's what the BLS introduced in 1982 or something like that. There's CPI-U, which is what we use for the bulk of CPI-U is what we use for everybody essentially, and that's like 92% representative. There's CPI-W, which is what they used to use. All right, so CPI-E, but no one uses CPI-W anymore. So CPI-E and CPI-U, housing is like 43% of total CPI. Housing. Why would that have any impact on your inflation whatsoever? Again, property tax, maybe. Maintenance, maybe. All that stuff, I grant you. But shelter is by far and away the biggest contingent of CPI. Nothing comes close. Shelter. And shelter consists of two things primarily. Owners equivalent rent and rent. Literally those two things. So basically a third of all CPI goes to renting your house. What? That doesn't make any sense. If I'm not renting, why would that have anything to do with me? So in my book, I showed you a different way to model this by using what they used to do, which is used to be food primarily should be a big component of your CPI, 100%. Healthcare is, they didn't used to model healthcare very much in terms of the old days. It's only like 3.3% of CPI. And I say once you're retired, you certainly should model healthcare more. I can't remember my percentages off the top of my head. You have to read my book. But food and then transportation, transportation is like the second biggest component of CPI. And I'm like, why? If you're not buying a new car or lease a new car every year and you're retired, you're not driving that much. What? Anyway, that doesn't mean inflation doesn't exist. It just says the idea that your spending will increase each and every year with just for CPI. It's no. I love the Who. Yeah, 100%. Freaking the Who and the Who is freaking, and the Kinks. I love the Kinks too. The Kinks had some songs that weren't as great as others, but freaking those two bands were freaking awesome. Yeah, Chris Cornell. I'm not gonna lie, that guy's voice was nuts, dude. Nuts. There's a band, kind of like a glam rock band. I can't remember what they're called, man. And this guy hit these notes. Angel eyes, you got angel eyes, such a steel heart. I never liked too much of that glam rock crap, but I did like the first two Motley Crue albums. Too Fast for Love I enjoyed, and Shout at the Devil I enjoyed. Anything after that sucked. I did like the first. Metallica wasn't, the first couple of Metallica albums was good, and then Master of Puppets pretty much sucked, and then it went downhill from there. Anyway, so a band called Steelheart. I was like, how did that guy? And I always wondered, was that just auto tune? And this came out in like the late '80s. I don't even know if they had auto tune back then. See, Denise, stay alive there, Denise, stay alive. No, that was no, not that. No, not I know what you're talking about. It wasn't that song. It was because that song sucked. This is a band, Angel. I don't think it's Smile Lines of My Life. And this guy hits these notes. I'm like, how the hell does he do that? It's insane. Master of Puppets is great. If you're dumb, it's great. That's 100%. Yeah, if you're dumb, Master of Puppets is great. So let's just acknowledge that Pulverizer is dumb because he said Master of Puppets is great because Master of Puppets sucks. Other than there's like 2 songs of Master of Puppets that's good. Everything else sucks, and Metallica sucks. Come on, man. This is a place for smart people. Pulverizer, come on, man. Oh man, Metallica. Oh. But Kill 'Em All is pretty good. I love CCR 100%. I don't know. They got some videos on with what's the name? Freaking I'm drawing a blank the guy's name. They're suing the band, like his brother. Did you hear that? The freaking guy in CCR. You know what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, that's it right there. Steel hard, never let you go. How does that guy hit those freaking notes? It's insane. Oh, anyway, I was going to show you guys something. Check this out. All right, if I can find it. Hold on a second. FUs. I'm not going to find it. Man. There's a band from Boston called the FUs, and they got this song about I went walking through MTV land with a sawed-off shotgun under my hand. Whoa, the British, John Fogerty, that's it. The British have come, and the new wave is here. The boys all look sweet. The girls all look weird. Oh, and he goes, but me, I'm not naive. I know that glamour sells, but why, tell me why, must you put me through a synthesizer hell? Such a good song. Steve Perry and Brad Delp. That guy, Brad Delp, man, friggin' God almighty. You ever hear the story of Brad Delp, by the way? You're from Boston. It's sad, man. He sounds like a freaking great guy, too. Sounds like a great guy. Because one guy talked about it in the comments. He goes, man, I was running some marathon in New Hampshire. And I didn't have any water for some reason. And we're at the start line. I didn't have any water. And this guy comes out and he's like, and I said, this guy like lived right here. He comes out, and he's like looking at us, getting ready to start this marathon. He goes, man, I think that's Brad Delp. He goes, you Brad Delp? He goes, yeah. He goes, oh my goodness, it's Brad. It's a singer from Boston. And he goes, Brad Delp says, where's your water? And the guy goes, I don't have any. And so Brad Delp took him into his house or something like that, gave him some water right before the freaking marathon. That guy, that was the guitarist of Boston, was an MIT guy. And he seems all right. I think a lot of people think there's animosity between him and Brad Delp because Brad Delp killed himself. They want to hold him accountable. I don't know that to be true, but a lot of people are pinning on him. Oh, it was because of you that Brad Delp died, killed himself. I just think some people they go off, man. Their brain leaves their ability to think the way we want you to, and there's no other choice. I don't know what it's like to be depressed like that. I don't like it. I feel bad. It sucks, dude, but people kill themselves all the time. And it's just depression's a freaking mofo. You know what I'm saying? And I just find it horrible that people would kill themselves, especially over stupid stuff. And, do you hear about the DeSantis guy, big DeSantis guy, donor, who killed himself not that long ago? Because he had tickets to, what's that stupid chick's name? Taylor Swift. He wanted some young girl to come to his office to get the tickets, but she was going to have to show her private parts, if you know what I'm saying. It's freaking scumbag, dude. It's like one of the DeSantis. It doesn't mean DeSantis is guilty. No, it's just when you're running politics, you're going to have a bunch of scumbags out there. And apparently the daughter told her dad, and they got him on videotape or something like that, or emails or text, I can't remember. And the dad went to confront him. And the guy said, look, I'll give you $50,000 if you keep quiet. And they're like, nope. And they kill himself. Yeah, Tom Schultz ran the band. That's a guy from MIT for Boston. Yeah. Oh, Pearl Jam. All right. So we got another. Pearl Jam's the worst. Oh, Pearl Jam. Oh, can't take it. Me, I'm not nice. Hold on a second. I got to find this real quick. And then we'll get back to the financial planning. The F. Know that glamour sells, but why, tell me why, must you put me through a synthesizer hell? Yeah, during the heyday of political hardcore punk in the early 80s, the FUs ran afoul of clown from Maximum Rock and Roll, who's a freaking commie scumbag, because they found the patriotic lyrics and artwork on My America to be emblems of right-wing nationalism. Yeah, we need more right-wing nationalism, you freaking scumbags. The songwriter noted that the Maximum Rock and Roll's negative publicity had adversely impacted the band's record sales, particularly in Europe. The lyricist John Sachs has said in writing, he wanted to get a reaction. On our first tour, I encountered lots of young kids who had their entire lives in front of them. A lot of them had turned to hard drugs. I was looking for a shocking way to say, yeah, America has its problems, but destroying yourself isn't helping. Yeah, 100%, dude. Anyway, that's that guy crushes John Sachs. I think he's a big lib. And that's it is. What are you gonna do? Let's see. Do we really want to hurt you? Is the name of the album. Hold on just a second. Yeah, punk rock sucks, dude. I hate punk rock. So freaking clowns. Like just a bunch of whiny children. 1 second. America. Right here. This is the album right here. Let me show you guys. America, I want to be a commie because communism is where it's at. Yeah, you freaking scumbags. Go get your $1,000 sleeve tattoos right here. FUs right here. Do we really want to hurt you on a tank? That's that right there. If you got that as a 12-inch, I'm never sure if they did colored vinyl. If you have that album right there, you are the man. That's all there is to it. Yeah, one of my favorite albums of all time. Do we really want to hurt you? I took a walk through MTV land with sawed-off shotgun under my hand. Whoa! Oh, yeah, it's freaking crushes. Everything I like crushes. Everything Pulverizer likes sucks. We all know that. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Let's see. I just want to find if I can find the lyrics to this song. It's great. Rock the Nation. I can't remember. Promised Land. No. They got Promised Land, Rock the Nation. I think it's Rock the Nation. FU's Rock the Nation. Hold on just a second. FU's Rock the Nation lyrics. I think rock the. They also have Young Fast Iranians. I'm going to the bar. I'm never coming back. Going to the bar for a suicide attack. Lyric. Just freaking. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not going to find it. All right, whatever. I'm not having this. All right, so let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, I actually enjoyed a little bit of Skid Row. They're the first band that went off that glam rock crap stuff, like Poison. Oh, horrible. They actually have a little bit of heaviness to it. You know what I'm saying? Slave to the Grind. A lot of songs on that album suck, but a couple good songs they're pretty. That became a lot more heavier than was coming out of there. Even Guns N' Roses, and I like the Guns N' Roses "Appetite for Destruction" album was good. There's no other way around that. It's a good album, front to back. Most of the songs are good. That was the beginning of the end for that glam rock crap, though. You know what I'm saying? Because even they got a little bit more heavier. But Skid Row is who I credit first to be a little bit more heavier after that glam rock crap from the 80s. And those bands are just so freaking bad. So bad. You just want to slit your freaking wrist and dive into a freaking steaming warm bath of starving great whites to say, end it now, please, because that music sucks. I remember when I was in the Army, there's a guy who lived next door. He used to always play that 80s. I was like, dude, I literally want to join the commies if I have to hear this anymore. If this is where capitalism brings us, give me commies any day of the week, please, because this is horrible. Yeah, we already talked about Metallica. Not a big fan. Not a big fan. I like Kill 'Em All, and I liked the second album after that, Ride the Lightning. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. After that, they didn't do anything for me. No, they sold that. No. They're like, one of my favorite bands of all time is The Sword. The Sword. They freaking crush. But they changed their tunes almost like mid-70s Southern rock in some way. And if you're letting some doom metal and you turn on The Sword, you're like, oh, this is great. And then you turn on, you're like, wait, that's like mid-70s Southern rock, which I enjoy, but I'm not sure I enjoy it from doom metal, one of my favorite doom metal bands, if that makes sense. Like Whiskey Myers, that's a good freaking band. You know what I'm saying? Of kind of like Southern rock, modern day Southern rock. Big fan of Whiskey Myers. They've kind of changed their sound a little bit too. And I don't mind people changing the sound. I get it. I mean, I changed on my YouTube channel. It changes just as you change, you get older. I do like the Allman Brothers. Talking to a guy from Macon, Georgia the other day who's plays drums in Macon, Georgia. I don't think he still does anymore, but he was probably my age. I said, man, you probably just missed the Allman Brothers, Charlie Daniels, all those guys in Macon, because Macon had a big, that's for Marshall Tucker. They got the name for the Marshall Tucker band in Macon, Georgia, if memory serves. I said, you probably are 10 years too late for that, born 10 years too late. But apparently he has I can't remember, but he knows a lot of guys who are in musicians, and it's just interesting stories that they tell. Because I do think a lot of these guys do sell their souls. 100%. I mean, I think they sell their souls for rock and roll to get fame. People give up anything for fame. It's weird, man. Yeah, I was actually listening to my man Finn McKenty, who I like. I consider my friend, and I interviewed him on my channel, Punk Rock. He's on Punk Rock MBA. I interviewed him on my channel about a year or so ago, Finn McKenty. And I text him every now and again. He's not a lib. He's more liberal than me, but he interviewed some guy the other day about racism and metal. And I don't actually deny that. I don't, it's weird because it used to be in the old hardcore days, there was racism in hardcore, like the mid 80s. We had some white power people, and that's all that stuff stupid. And then in like the 90s, every band wanted to be like the Antifa. That's why I can't stand hardcore and punk rock, because it's so trendy. I hate it. Anyway, so he's interviewing a guy who's biracial, and I actually appreciate some of this guy's insights. But it's typical liberal crap where we're, like, those people on that side of the aisle just need to be educated. You see what I'm saying? And he actually talked about Five Finger Death Punch. They don't do much for me, that band. It's not. I mean, I like their politics, presumably, but the band itself, it kind of bores me. But anyway, long story short, he was talking about this guy. He's like, yeah, these guys aren't really real. They're not really right wing. They're just appealing to a mass audience. I was like, that, huh? He's like, then the question would be, why? Why is there a mass audience who's susceptible to right wingism? He goes, oh, they just haven't been educated. This is why I hate the left. It's so patronizing. You haven't been educated. I'm like, dude, shut the hell up, man. I hate that. It's like, man, anyway, so he was all going off on, and he was doing it in a way that tried to make him seem like he's being in the middle of the road. And I was like, look, I'm actually a political analyst. I follow MSNBC in the Morning Joe. I said, you're a freaking idiot, dude. You're an idiot. That's all there is to it. You're dumb as rocks. And because you're half, you have a ability to say things that you wouldn't get away with if you're, a white guy, that's for sure. Because you get the time of day. People give you the benefit of the doubt. It's a fact. And that's just a fact. You can deny that all you want, but that's the nature we're in now. But to say those people over there who disagree with you politically are either racist nationalists or they're ignorant, it's just freaking stupid. Because I'm not ignorant. I'm not a racist. I'm a nationalist, but I'm certainly not a racist nationalist. America first, baby, 100%. And that's all races, all creeds, all colors, all religions. America first. So why are we sending all this money to Ukraine? Yeah, man, it's funny you said that. Donnie Dawkins, yeah, man, it's funny. I used to have cassettes. I was in a Desert Storm. That's funny, man. That's crazy. So around the same time, Desert Storm, we're going to NTC, National Training Center in Fort Irwin. It was about 2 years before Desert Storm. We went twice. I just remember I had all my, I used to listen to some rap back then, EPMD, Eric B. and Rakim, and I had my hardcore and I had my regular rock and roll too, all on cassette tapes. Kind of funny, man. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. Joe Scarborough. I mean, all these guys. They changed because they were never. They didn't change. They were never legit to begin with. What's that dude's name? Freaking John Kasich. They were never legit to begin with. Atlanta Rhythm Section. Yes, sir. That's a good band right there. 100%. Big fan. Big fan. It's funny how that band never got as well known. But these guys were never legit. They weren't neutered. They said, I'm going to sell out to get fame and fortune, and I'll do whatever I got to do to get it. There's a lot of interesting takes on this when it comes to the musicians and politicians and whatnot. Because there's no way that a lot of these bands, musically wise, are better at their instruments than a lot of bands we never heard of. So what causes them? They write a catchier tune. No, they sell their soul for rock and roll. 100%, man. I was listening to my man Crow 777 talking the other day about Supertramp, Breakfast in America. There's a lot of bad. If you look deep into that, you'll say that seems to be a predictive programming for 9/11, frankly. Breakfast in America. Look at the cover. You're like, other things too. And what's the other U2 album? There's a lot of predictive programming in music because there's no way that Boner. What's that guy's name? Bonerhead from U2. And look, a lot of people love that band. I never understood it. They don't do anything for me, but I like a little bit more harder music. But I still love, I love Marshall Tucker Band, dude. One of my favorite bands of all time, Marshall Tucker Band. I could listen to Marshall Tucker Band all day long. Hillbilly Band. Gotta go listen to my favorite sound. And an interesting thing about the guys at Marshall Tucker Band, I think three of them went to Vietnam. Crazy. AR. I was just listening to MC5. Just literally last night. From Detroit. AR5. What the? Oh, Atlanta Rhythm Session. Right on. I got you. I was like, actually, the guy from Gary Rosington, who owned some land right up here, he just died. Matter of fact. Yeah. No, I get it. Boney the Bono. I think he can say what people want to hear to say, hey, and I'm just the issue is you start saying, why did that guy become so famous over anyone else? Like, how did the Beatles? You know what I'm saying? Interesting. Now, so the story behind the Beatles is that they were playing in Germany for 365 nights out of the year. You know what I'm saying? And that would make you pretty good at what your routine is for sure. It's actually pretty interesting. There's a guy on YouTube. I'm not sure I buy the whole thing, but I'm gonna show you Sage of Quay. If you guys like music, you'll love this guy, Jim. Look, this is not to disparage old Bono. I frankly don't care, but that isn't interesting how just some people rise to the top and other people don't. Isn't it interesting? I was just reading in this book right here. Just reading it today, as a matter of this morning. Check this out. I thought it very funny. Right here. Edward Harriman, who started his career as a quotation boy on Wall Street and then became America's most powerful railway magnate after J.P. Morgan arranged the merger of his Union Pacific Railway with the Great Northern. So he was a quotation boy on Wall Street and then become a railroad tycoon. These guys get chosen, man. They get chosen and they volunteer their soul. And they say, yes, I want that. People want, it's crazy because you and I don't care. I mean, about fame and fortune, but some people do. That's like literally what they want more than anything. They want that fame and fortune. It's weird. So there's a guy I follow, Owen Benjamin, and he's been kicked off everything. Dave Chappelle stole his jokes, by the way, about the LGBTQs. Owen Benjamin was saying that, and he got banned off YouTube for saying there's something wrong here. And Dave Chappelle stole his joke, and somehow Dave Chappelle was able to turn that joke into millions. And it's not debatable, frankly. Owen Benjamin used to write for Steven Crowder, and it's actually pretty interesting. But he did not like the idea of. I'm not getting into it because I'll probably get banned. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say about that. Anyway, so check this guy's out. Sage of Quay's YouTube channel. We're going to look at Sage of Quay right here. It's interesting. I love this stuff, dude. I just find it. How dare you, York, PA? Why do I always forget your name? Sage of Quay. Mike Williams, that's the name. Sage of Quay. If you like music, like the old stuff, you'll love this guy's stuff, man, because he gets into it deep on did the Beatles write all their songs? The Beatles, Tavistock and Culture Creation, the Beatles Conspiracy, an interview with a supernatural. It's fun, man. It's fun to listen to his thoughts. I'm a big fan of this guy. Mind Control. He's on. This was I just listened to the other day. Crow 777. The Rolling Stones at Muscle Shoals. Question the Beatles' official narrative. Oh man, I get a lot out of that. It's fun. I enjoy that very much, actually. More Beatles. Oh, Mark Devlin. Mark Devlin's another great guy. He does deep research on the how the musicians of today became so popular. It's actually incredibly interesting, man. What Mike Lindell's bashing Florida? Probably because they're worried about DeSantis, challenging Trump. Yeah, I like the Steve Miller Band. The Steve Miller Band from before the '80s came around was fantastic, 100%. Was one fan, and then the '80s came around. Abracadabra. Yeah, these guys. But they're not just chosen; they volunteer. Though that's the thing, Bull Ride. I think they volunteer. So what I literally believe what happens is there is an evil amongst us that it knows like who is what your price is, and they'll say if you can serve what we're doing, we'll choose you, and then they'll choose you, and then and so what happens is they say okay, so you are willing to go. I mean, if you think about communism, all right, so communism, the most evil always rises to the top. Any kind of evil entity, the more evil you get, the more power you will get. Any kind of gang, any kind of cartel, anything like that. In the United States, the government, the more bones you're willing to crush, the further along you're going to advance. That's just because you're willing to sell your soul for this temporal existence. And it's no different than music, no different than in anything, entertainment at all. It's the same thing. It's just very interesting when you think about it because the evil, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. It's the evil that's in the ether, essentially. Is it humans? Is it some kind of mind? I don't know. But they know. They know. Say, look, Josh, we know for another, pound of ribeye, you will sell your soul. You know what I'm saying? And we'll provide you that. But the problem is, so who was I listening to the other day? I think it was Matt from Quantum Unconscious. Say, why the hell would Mick Jagger still do tours? I mean, like Mick Jagger was 90 years old or something like that. Why he doesn't need the money? Why is he still doing that? Because he loves to be loved on as an 80. I mean, look, Mick Jagger doesn't need to do tours that people kiss his ass. I mean, why is he still doing that? 80 years old. It's no different like with Biden. Why? I mean, hell, even Trump maybe. Why are these old guys still in the limelight? Doesn't make sense, dude. Yeah, Ted Nugent. I love Ted. Great by Buffalo. Doesn't make sense, man. So it's like, why are they doing it? Is this what they have to repay that to serve the beast when they said, out, choose me, and we'll go great places. And now they're 82 years old. How old Mick Jagger is. He's still out there performing. You think he really finds that fun? I don't. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know what BOC is. All right, so let's try something else. We're gonna go back on the topic here because it's already an hour and a half into it. I want to finish off with a couple of things. So we're gonna show you. Gotta go listen to my favorite sound. It's a hillbilly fiddle with an old guitar. Yeah, Marshall Tucker, freaking dudes. The guy I'm drawing a blank. The guy who sings Doug Ford. What a voice, that guy, Doug Ford. I think his name for the Marshall Tucker band. Ah, oh, jeez. I just those guys. I mean, hey, listen, Southern rock, and I get it. Everyone likes Leonard Skinner, what I'm saying, but man, some of that Southern rock is just it makes you happy inside. You know what I'm saying? Just like greetings from South Carolina from the Marshall Tucker band. Every song on that from front to back. Come on, waiting for Jesus. It's like gospel, blues, country, rock. Let's see. Got some of that. Greetings from South Carolina. Hold on a second. Greetings, South Carolina, Marshall. They're in Spartanburg, right north of Greenville, by the way. Yeah, greetings from South Carolina. I got a Carolina sunset. What's the one song I want to hear though? Rolling river, keep on running all along. Yeah, Closer to Jesus. Yeah, Closer to Jesus. That's a great song. I forgot how it goes off the top of my head, or else I'll sing it to you guys and you guys would howl at the moon. I'm getting every day, I'm getting closer to Jesus. And that's the only thing I know. I don't mind old Aerosmith. I don't mind old Aerosmith. You know, we all here at the edge of town where we all live, ain't a soul around. Uh, Toy Caldwell wasn't the singer was a guy named Doug Ford. Toy Caldwell was another Vietnam vet who was part of the Marshall Tucker band. Absolutely. Where y'all from? Ain't a soul around. People moving it. We gotta get out because the city's moving in. We gotta get it out because the city's moving in. Yeah, I like it old Aerosmith. Not gonna lie. I had a box set of Aerosmith back in the '90s, early '90s. All right, hang tight. So if you don't like music, I'm not the channel for you. If you don't like talking schmack, I'm not the channel for you. If you don't like talking financial stuff, I'm not the channel for you. If that's all you want, because it's just fun to talk about stuff, man. And hear other people's. It's fun to talk about music, especially music you grew up in. It's great. You know what I'm saying? Like my man Crow was talking about with that guy, Mike Williams from Sage Quay. You know, like he was talking about a song. Who the hell was it? Some song that he said it sucks, but he goes, every time I hear it, it brings me back. I literally smell, you know, that the time frame of the kiss of a first girlfriend or something like that. I can't remember what song it was. Like you'll say the same thing if you listen to some Britney Spears song. Listen, you know, like obviously Britney Spears, who cares? But there are people who grew up with Britney Spears, and you'll be 50 years old, they'll listen to a Britney Spears song, and they'll smell the what it was at 14 years old with her first boyfriend or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, a couple of songs are, for some reason, the Cars, bow, 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 bow. I like the nightlife, baby. That, Don Henley's Boys of Summer. Those are two. Every time I hear them, it just brings it back to older times. Isn't that crazy? Like you smell it. You smell it. There's another song too that brought me back to Maine. I'm drawing a blank what that was. But anyway, so the two songs, every time I hear it, I like the nightlife, baby. He said that makes me think of older times. And then again, the Don Henley song, Boys of Summer. I don't know why those two songs specifically. I don't understand. Um, yeah, Van Halen just never did much for me. 1984 sucks, Steve. Sorry. Everyone thinks 1984. It's interesting the breakup between Van Halen and David Roth. It sounded like David Lee Roth wanted to go a little bit more metal, not metal, but keep it hard, and Eddie Van Halen wanted to go more synthesizer stuff and more experimental. And I don't play instruments. I can't blame people for wanting to expand the horizons, but gosh, you know not alternative, whatever they call it back in the '80s. You know, where that experimental stuff. I just look, if you're going to do that, might as well just go full fusion. Doug Gray, that's what his name is. Doug Gray. Right on. That's right. Doug Gray. Go fusion. You know what I'm saying? And I like some fusion. You know, I like some Frank Zappa. Those guys are, you know, the fusion bands that I've followed are freaking insane musicians for sure. I can only take a little bit, so much fusion before I want to jump off a bridge and kill myself. So, yeah, right there. Well, probably because wasn't that the song that was on during that movie? But but anyway, so like Eddie Van Halen wanted to go experimental, and that's kind of like what happened with Rush, in my opinion. And like, all right. So anyway, let's go back. I'm freaking stay focused, Scanlon. I can't, dude. It's crazy. I can't stay focused. I like music because we all like music. It's part of our lives, dudes. So I don't understand these people just listen to top 40 stuff, like what, or 80 stuff. I just want to. Oh gosh. Ugh. I liked Debbie Gibson. Oh, how dare you? All right, so we talked about what ended up here. So 1966, we ran out of money in 1984. 1967, I like the nightlife, baby. Wasn't that guy married to Paula from the Sports Illustrated thing? Oh, it was Rick Ocasek, right? Who's the guy married to Paula from Sports Illustrated? Paula Porvinska Namna, whatever her name was. So we ran out of money in 1990. If we did 5% a year, adjusted for inflation, we ran out of money from 1967 and 1993. So we still had 23 years or something like that of growth. 27 years. We still had money for 27 years. 1968. We chopped on choppy. We ran out of money, and 1993. All right, so 1968 ran out of money. 1968 ran out of money. 1986. Excuse me. We had 19 years. 1969. So those are the high inflation years. High inflation and low return years. The 60s, the late 60s and the 70s. 1969. Ran out of money year 17. Lasted 17 years. 1970. So you can see we had about a time frame of this set of about 10 years in there, 1970 to 1971. I think we've made it through in 1971. 1971, right there. Yeah. So basically from 1966, we had a 5-year time frame from 1966 through 1970 that you would have ran out of money taking 5% a year out of the S&P 500, and that's it. I mean, that's with no cash. It's straight up the S&P 500. Isn't that crazy? Pretty cool. I'll tell you a story about the Sports Illustrated thing. When I was in the Army, I was in the basic training. My mom we're out in the field, and I don't know why my mom said it. It's a 1988 or 1989, I guess. Yeah, 1989. So we're out in the field in basic training, and I hated the Army, hated everything about it. I'm glad I went in, but I hated it. And I was pardon my French, I was a shit soldier. I was a shit sandwich, pardon my French, as a soldier. I just sucked. Anyway, so she sent me this care package of Oreo cookies and something else to chomp on, and the 1989 swimsuit issue. So I got this 1989 swimsuit issue while we're out in the middle of Fort Benning on doing our 4-day freaking field meeting, whatever the thing. 5 days. We're out in the field for 5 days. I get Oreo cookies, double stuff, the swimsuit issue, and something else. And that was like the best thing ever, man. I don't know why my mom sent that to me, but just as a man, that went to good use, if you know what I'm saying. Looking at those pretty ladies on there, I'll laugh. I'll never get that. The guy said, Scanlon, got something, package. I open it up, thing of double stuffed Oreos, and a swimsuit issue. All right, would I put money needed in 6 years in stocks or mainly cash and bonds? Yeah, that's a tough one, Rick. If I put in stocks or mainly cash and bonds. If I know I need it in 6 years, I don't think I put in stocks. I mean, literally. So let's just say I got $100,000. I need $100,000 in 6 years to, I don't know, freaking put braces on my youngest daughter. I don't think I'm putting that in stocks. I think it's too long of a. I think it's too short of a time horizon there. I mean, because people forget. Let's just go back again. I like the nightlife, baby. When we're in bed. Is there any chicks on here anymore? I hope not. But when you're in an infantry unit, it's all men. Let's just put it this way. Magazines travel fast, if you know what I'm saying. There was no internet back then. There was no phones. I can only imagine what guys are dealing with now. But we go on, you'd be deployed to Honduras or Panama, Germany, and stuff like that. Yeah, Andrew, I'm going to take my kid to see the Reds this year. I don't know why. I want to see the Reds at Cincinnati baseball stadium. I told my kids, so let's go see the Cincinnati Reds. He's like, why? I said, I don't know. I just always want to see the Reds. So when I was growing up, my Aunt Cynthia, she was put up for adoption, and her adopted parents were from Cincinnati, and so she moved to Cincinnati from California. Anyway, and so she got a Johnny Bench. She loved Johnny Bench. And she sent me a Cincinnati Reds trash can when the old from the George Foster time. Remember that Cincinnati Reds with Johnny Bench and George Foster. And I just love the Reds, man. Always had. Now they played in Riverfront Stadium. I could never like a team that played in one of those insane AstroTurf cookie cutter stadiums. So I never liked the Reds, but I always loved the Reds. You pre that, you know what I'm saying, with a trash can. I don't know. Anyway, so now they played a nice stadium. Obviously, played a nice stadium for a long time. But I just always had the Cincinnati Reds trash can, and she sent me a Johnny Bench stuff, and then she sent me a bunch of Red stuff. And it turned out the hell happened to my Aunt Cynthia? She got screwed out of some, I can't remember what it was, by her foster parents, or I can't. George Foster, I didn't know that. Really? Hit 52 home runs like 1975. Isn't that crazy? Like, you to hit 30 home runs meant you're the man. George Foster hit 52. 52. Crazy. I was retired about retirement money that would not be needed for the next 6 years. Oh, but you said if I need it in 6 years, that's what you said. You said, would you put money needed in 6 years in stocks? I mean, if you don't necessarily know you're going to need it, yeah, absolutely. Dividend paying stocks, 100%. I got no qualm with that. But if you have a specific thing you're going to use that money for, I wouldn't know. Charlie Hustle. Yeah, we saw Pete Rose one time in Las Vegas. This guy, good for my roommate, Chris. Chris, one of these guys who just everything he does is it turns to gold. This guy just freaking. He's like he's like my roommate. Got me a job at a bar. I just always looked like if I had a big brother, it'd be this guy named Chris Chapman. I love Chris Chapman. Everything that guy touches, man, it's crazy. Turns to gold. It's nuts. I always said, how do you? He's just a good guy, a brilliant guy. Anyway, long story short, he's got no. It's funny, man. So we're sitting in a Las Vegas casinos because we used to go to Las Vegas for a Great American Beer Festival. That was in Denver. But we went to Las Vegas to gamble. This is right because he loved gambling. I did not, so I lost money. Anyway, we're sitting at I can't remember some sports book in Las Vegas, and Chris says, "Hey, scan." So what's up? He goes, "Dude, that's Pete Rose." I said, "No way." He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm gonna go ask him for an autograph." I said, "Don't do that. Pete Rose doesn't want to hear people. He gets autographs all the time." He goes, "Don't." And so went up to him and said, "Hey, man, I think you should be in the Hall of Fame. Would you autograph my?" He got an autograph from Pete Rose. I said, "Man, Chris, you got freaking guts." Chris Chapman is one of these guys, by the way, who like he invested in things. He's still. I haven't talked to him in years, but he would buy these old like pinball machine games and the old Galaga games and stuff like that. Fix them up and sell them and make money. As like stuff like that. Like who knew you could do that? Like you'd fix these things up, you'd buy these things, you'd use them, fix them up, then you'd sell them for a profit. How would you even know? Like, hey, how would you even know how to fix it? How would you even know how to? This is before the internet. I was like, man, I just always looked up that guy. I said, how do you like just thinks outside the box? I say, how would you know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is crazy, man. I always loved that guy. And I think he's got 3 kids. He still lives in Northern Virginia, but guy crushes, man. I just never forget going, hey, scan. So what? Because that's Pete Rose. Nah, it ain't Pete Rose. Because it is. I'm gonna go ask for an autograph. I said, no, don't do that. He doesn't want to hear from you. I said, man, I wish I had the guts like that, dude. Yeah, with the Reds. I like the Reds. I'm gonna go take my son up to see the Reds. So we're gonna go to. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to see the Reds. Go see minor league, like whatever's. So we get. I think from here to Chattanooga to Nashville to Indianapolis, I think, and then to Cincinnati. Maybe that's not right, but maybe Louisville is what it was. And we're gonna go see minor league games back there. That's gonna be a lot of fun, man. Very much, and then seeing Cincinnati, and then drop back to Atlanta. Back during the Big Red Machine, the Reds players did the meet and greet at schools. Yeah, he could tell he was ticked off to be there. Isn't it crazy? I was reading something, Andrew, the other day that that the average salary for Major League Baseball in the 1960s was only twice the average salary of men in the United States. Isn't that crazy? So freaking Roger Maris was making $100,000. Obviously, he was average, but making $100,000. The average freaking pipe digger, pipe fitter was making $50,000. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it would be. I think it'd be a lot of fun, man. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Anyway, so Rick, if you don't need that money, see, this is the issue. We'll end up here. If we don't have a specific need for money, I got no qualm investing in dividend stocks, none whatsoever. And if you want to invest in the S&P 500, that's fine too. I don't care. But if we have a specific need in a specific time frame, I'm not doing stocks. I just think the risk is too high. If we have I might need that money for something in 5-10 years, then yeah, by all means. But that doesn't. I did not know that. I don't know what State Route 32 is, but yeah, they the whole betting thing is stupid, man. I mean, it's. Do you know that the NBA now? I think my understanding is there's more revenue for betting on the NBA than the NBA itself, or something like that. Crazy. I can't believe I'm like watching the NBA, but I was watching the Hawks and the Celtics last night because my youngest loves the Celtics, and we still like the Hawks. But I was into that game and I watched it, and Trey Young hit this three with like a second left to win for the Hawks over the Celtics. And if you would have told me a couple years ago I'd be back watching the NBA, I used to love the NBA growing up. But if you had told me that a couple years ago, I would have thought you're freaking nuts, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so political. Did you hear what Phil Jackson said about the NBA? It's like, why would I want to watch any of that crap, man? Crazy. That's Phil Jackson. And of course, all the race hustlers, you're racist, literally calling Phil Jackson racist. What's that guy's name? Jalen, the clown from University of Michigan, whatever that clown's name is, a big scumbag. He says, can you imagine? Can you imagine calling Phil Jackson racist? Phil Jackson. That guy was like, he went down like Puerto Rico and Mexico to coach. He got a chance like the Albany paratroopers or something like that in the CBA. And then he was like a assistant coach for some, freaking Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, can you imagine? If Phil Jackson's a racist, dude, we're all racist. And as such, screw this. Just stop. Like anytime they call you racist, say, yeah, you're right. I guess I am. You know why? Because if you can call Phil, what's the guy's name on ESPN? The guy who played for Michigan with Chris Webber. He went on the Indiana Pacers. I can't remember. He's a freaking clown. I hate all of that. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, the point being is if Phil Jackson is racist, then we all are. And I'll accept that with a badge of honor. If I'm in the same place as Phil Jackson, look, Phil Jackson is a weird guy. A racist, Jalen Rose, that's his name. What a friggin' clown. Yeah, but if you have a kid that likes it, you're like, oh man. Now, once that kid is out, I'm not going to watch it anymore. I just don't care. You know what I'm saying? But once my, it's kind of fun watching it with him. And my wife's into the Celtics. We like the white guys, you know what I'm saying? Like Peyton Pritchard never gets a chance to play. Even though last year he did a lot of good for the Celtics when he got on there. He hustled and really helped the Celtics go to the NBA championship. My man Luke Cornett went to Vanderbilt. We saw him at the G League down here in Atlanta. We saw Hauser. He's their sharpshooting 3-point guy. He probably gets 15 minutes a game, if that. We like him. We gotta go for the white guy, the white American guys in the NBA for sure. I do like Jaylen Brown. I like him. He's from Georgia. I like Malcolm. Malcolm plays for the Celtics. That guy I like a lot. There's a lot of actually good guys in the NBA. Unfortunately, they're overlooked by a lot of scumbags, if that makes sense. Malcolm Broadway, I can't remember. The guy number 13 for the Celtics, man. I forgot Malcolm something. Broadway. That guy's a good guy. I like him a lot, and I'm a fan for sure. Jaylen Brown, I like him a lot too. But they interviewed Jaylen Brown. Said, "What's it like to be black in Boston?" I was like, "Dude, we're still doing this. Because Jim Rice, from 1970s said Boston was racist, and it was, man. It was racist. But that 1970s, why? Because forced busing. That's what it made people like, I don't want to send my kids halfway across town to go to a school that's integrated. That is freaking nuts. And so Jim Rice said Boston's racist. Yeah, it was, for sure. But we're still saying to Jaylen Brown, what's it like to be black in Boston? I'm like, oh my goodness, dude, I can't believe it. It's like people the media wants nothing more than racism. And they're going to find it wherever they can get it. And if they can find it for saying Phil Jackson's racist, they're going to say it's Phil Jackson racist because they're going to find racism. So that clowns like my man I was listening to from the Punk Rock NBA podcast who's introducing this, biracial guy. He can basically say, your racism, it's out there. It's out there. You either got white nationalists or you got ignorant people. It's like, dude, well, if Phil Jackson's a racist, is he a white nationalist? No. Is he ignorant people? No. So but he's being called racism. So maybe, well, Biden's still a racist, man. I mean, come on. Come on. So it's like at the end of the day, you're like, racism is in the eyes of the beholder, I suppose, and they can all kiss my big fat behind. It doesn't matter because just because you say someone's racist doesn't mean it's true. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, all right. With that said, let's see if we got anything on Rumble here. All right, we got a couple of people still there. Oh, we still got 22 people on there. Right on. All right, so let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. And 20, we went back to 5 unique 30-year retirement time frames with everything in the S&P 500, and the only 5 unique ones there were. And every single time, you never ran out of money, 5% a year, adjusted with inflation or not. Every single time. The only times you ran out of money were from this tiny frame of about 1966 or about 1971 or so. And that's all with the S&P 500. That's it. What does that mean? Does that mean you can bank on that? No, not necessarily. Does that mean you should put everything in the S&P 500? No. Well, I'm just trying to show you that at the end of the day, when you factor in inflation or just a fixed, again, history would tell us that you had a much better chance than you think of surviving for the 30 years. But there's just no two ways around that. If you came into the buzzsaw that was the 1960s with high inflation and low rates of return, that's going to be a problem. No other way around that. So to prepare yourself for that, and I don't actually think that's going to happen necessarily. I don't know. But, I could easily see a 1970s come again where scarcity is big. The prices of electricity goes through the roof, which means everything else expensive, and moderate rates of return. I could easily see that. So how do you prepare for that? Well, you prepare for it the only way you can, which is paying down your debt, literally paying down your debt. But inflation eats away at my debt. Dude, if I hear that another time, I'm going to drive it. I'm going to go insane. It's divided. I hang out on Tuesday nights with a panel of black people, and I love it. It's our tech, and they love me, and I love them. How dare you? You're racist, obviously. You're not supposed to identify that they're black. How dare you? Isn't it funny? It's like we were told for years not to look at anyone from the skin color. Now we're told to look out for the skin color, and I actually make it a capital letter, call it white with a capital W. The whole thing's stupid. It's dumb. No, they're not printing money like there's no tomorrow. We just talked about the beginning of this live stream. The M2 money supply has fallen off as a cliff we haven't seen since the Great Depression. So no one knows nothing. All right, I'm going to get out of here, my friends. God bless. We will see you. We will be on live stream on Locals Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I got an email about the guy about the WEP GPO. I'm trying to interview an old congressman who emailed me back, so that's good. We'll see if we can shake that out. My man Craig Israelson and I are working on a paid-for investment course. It's not a course, but it's kind of like a investment seminar thing. Because he's got so much material on investing that we'll probably charge like $25 for a seminar to see what he's talking about on his investments and stuff like that. I think it'll be actually pretty good. It'll be not by invite only, but be paid because he's going to use his many years of research into investment markets and share with us his stuff. So that's Craig Israelson, the guy I interviewed the other day. He actually came up. He goes, "How do we do something called Josh and the Doc investment strategies?" And I said, "That's a great idea." So we'll be doing that. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to shake out. Probably pretty soon. That'll be fun. And then you guys can ask, if you pay. The reason we want to do it paid is that way you guys have inputs, ask questions, and be part of the thing. And when we have just anyone showing up, that's fine. But if A, you're going to pay for people's time, and B, if you want access to having your questions answered, by a couple of professionals who've been doing this for a long time, it's worth a couple bucks for sure. So we'll see how that shakes out. But all right, I get out of here. God bless. We'll see you guys. Thanks again for being here.